It's not doing anything to me. And everybody say, wow, it's so great for you, it's so not great for me. And they say, how can you watch? Because this morning, I tell you the truth, this morning I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch this film again before to come here. Because I have been watching this 20 times, but every time I watch it, I learn something out of these films. Because they are not simple films, they are complex films, and they really talk about complex idea of who we are as humans. So if you have to take this film and put it in today's world, it will work completely. I will take the suit of Isak Borg, who is like the main character, was a professor. I will make it in a modern suit. But they talk what they talk. They talk about what we're talking today. They talk about death, about relationship, about love, about communication, about caring. All these things will make us human. So a film where this human things is, it just makes a difference, So here we are, and it's what I'm trying to do. So here you are. This is the Institute of Film Studies. And to show you what we have been showing, I show right now in Montclair the Japanese film series. I'm sure you have been going there because it's really a great series of film. But here on this place, today is Sjöström presented by Bergman on Thursday night. And I know it's a weird time. Thursday night is really, there is this, I show 3 or 4 films on Thursday night, and this is one, this Thursday, it's Sjöström, who is a great Iranian. Of course, we are really into it now, right? Because it's Iran. But this we're talking about the great intellectual of Iran. The 19th showed like the best filmmaker of Iran. And I had an Iranian film series in Montclair just before the Japanese, who did extremely well. So very great film, and he is a master of that time. His name is Sjöström, and he made a movie called Taste of Sherry. And this is really what I'm showing here.
What time is it on Thursday night?
It's 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And it's late, but it's difficult to bring people in because it's a weekday. I'm not saying that it's and of course, I have the other film on next Sunday, was called A Life of 4 Hours in Montclair, was from Kenjo Mizoguchi, so it's like another big one. So the film are going always, one after the other, of all kind of different things, so. Today's World Sovereign Ingmar Bergman, 1957. So what I want you to remember is what somebody said. When you watch a film of the 1950s, you have to put yourself back in the 1950s. If you can, if you were very little, or if you didn't exist, or if you were, whatever it is. Where is 1957? Where we are, especially in the cinema. We are still after war. 1957, 1945, 48, everything is going. You have the neo-realists going. I want to put everything back in. The neo-realists are the filmmaker of the after-war war, who is going to be very well known, even in the US. The Sika is starting in the 60s, but 1948 it brings like this simple way of making film, and always about content. As in the US, we have, of course, the dancing, we have all this kind of thing, but in Europe, the content is really the important thing. The neo-realists and the Italian are bringing this. So you have this, 1948, 1950, up to 1956. At the same time, you have the new wave, French new wave starting in Europe, in France, 1954, 1955. First French new wave film is 1959, but 1953, 1954 already they are writing, they are making statements about film. So you have this, and here at the middle of this, we have 1957 Bergman. Bergman already in 1953, made film for a while before he get to this. He's 35 years old when he makes this. In 1953, he made a film called Summer with Monica. I don't know if you heard about this. It's 1953. With the film who is gonna just influence François Truffaut for 400 Blows. So we're talking about everything is connected. You have a connection of all this area, and they are all good film because they are all content film. The visual is important, but it's not so important. It's what they are saying, and what they are sharing, and what they are exploring. These people are intellectual most of the time. They're very well read. They know everything about literature. So we're not talking about because there is in Europe there is a commercial cinema of people like comics and people going and laughing. There is, but this is a very, very known as an artistic cinema, who is a cinema of content that people reflect. So Bergman, out of all of these guys, out of like even the French Nouvelle, even out of Godard, out of Desica and the Neorealist. This is the one. This is the intellectual filmmaker by itself. Everything that you're going to watch on the film, every minute, every frame, every look, every dialogue has a meaning. Nothing is empty. There is something to show for showing it. Or there is nobody who is standing up for standing up. So this is what I want you to know, and I will tell you exactly where we will place it in his own life, right? So, cinema, Bergman, born in 1918, died in 2007, old, but he's like one of these really intense intellectuals. So I wrote some of the stuff too, but like the theme, death, religion, always heavy question about everything else, everything about life. The narrative, content setting of theater. Bergman was, before to be a filmmaker, you have to remember, he was a theater man. He was a director of the Malmö Theater, and he was a theater man. But let me tell you a little bit about Bergman as a person. He was raised in a family who was extremely strict. His father was a Protestant minister, and he was abusive, like you cannot even believe. So Bergman, at a young age, was abused. Abused like, you know, I mean, with the strictness of religion. It's like, you don't do this thing, bang, hitting all the time. And Bergman was already, at a very young age, he was interested by cinema. He was a little rebellious against his father. So just to not scaring you, because it's interesting. It's like the same thing like about Truffaut, and we talk about Truffaut, how from a kid who was pushed out from everything, he becomes this great movie director. Bergman was the same. His father used to take him at 7, 8, very young age, and put him in the closet in the dark. I mean, you know, it's no joke, you know, imagine what it is. So, a regular kid, what will do a regular kid? He will be crying. Not him. You realize that he was going, whenever he was facing his father, he was going to go to the closet. So he realized if he was in the closet, he better do something productive about it. It's pretty crazy. So he read. So he hid books in the closet, and once he read the book, he read. He was a little bit like Truffaut, 400 Clothes. It's not, he didn't read like stupid books, he read a great classic. So all this energy again on him, hated his father. And when you're going to watch the film, you're going to see how he used all these life things to make the film. So he was so crushed that they knew at an early age, maybe 12, 13, that he loved cinema. And for Christmas, his father did something very on purpose. He gave his brother what we call the kaleidoscope, is like the ancestor of the camera. It was a machine, it was like before film. He gave this to his brother. On purpose. Oh, you want this? You like cinema? I'm going to give it to your brother. So the poor Bergman was really great. He was really so hurt. But he found a way of getting this machine. He realized that his brother didn't care about film. He didn't care at all. His brother liked little soldiers, you know, like figure soldiers. Yeah. And Bergman had a big, so he took all his big collection of soldiers and he said to his brother, let's exchange it. So he exchanged it to get the So to show you that even at an early age he had like this vision. Very strong and very ready to go forward. So get involved in theater very early, and he become like this theater man before to make any film.
So when did he come out of the closet?
He never was.
I'm sorry.
I can tell you he never was. The man was married 5 times. 5 times he was married.
To women?
Yeah. 5 times to women, and I will say it after. But this is like, these are like some of the film. If you have not been watching his film, I mean, hopefully I will make a series just on Bergman. These are great films. 7 Seals and Wild Strawberries are the 2 films made in the same year, in 1 year. Amazing. Written in psychiatric ward. He's breaking down here, the nervous breakdown, and in nervous breakdown he writes his films.
Is his
So
first
the-
film? His first film was Summer with Monica?
What?
His first film was that Summer with Monica?
Summer with Monica is the first one who broke him a little bit through being really well known. But the big film, what I wrote this in, these two are the most important film of his career because he break two, you know. 7 Seals and What Strawberries made at the same time in the same year. And of course all of this. Of course I will advise you to watch Persona, who is like one of the great. Cry and Whispers, and the Scene of a Marriage, all of these movies are masterpieces of cinema. He stayed on the top of the movie industry all his life, you know, until he died in the 90s.
Are all of these made in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because he was supported by the Swedish government, what somebody asked me. Today you could not make a film like this. He was a great theater man. He worked with a lot of these actors in the theater, and in the summer, was being able to get movies to film Svenska, who is like the industry of Sweden, who gave him enough money to make a film. So he took the troupe, a lot of these people were actors in the troupe, went with him and starting to make film. So he did not stop, never stopped. He had like more than 50 feature film. So all of these are great, all supported and...
Hour of the Wolf?
What?
Hour of the Wolf? The Hour of the Wolf is one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
It's a very good film too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I mean this is a stone of that. I just put like the really the basic of this, you know. And I don't know, if you have time, you know, this is the things that you can really discover.
He has a question.
Yeah.
Here. Isn't it?
Wasn't Scenes of a Marriage a TV series?
It was a TV series, right?
Right.
But a TV series starting with his own ways, you know.
Right.
But at that time, they were taking TVs was the beginning. People were
Right.
excited about
Which
TV.
one was it? Marriage?
Scene of the Marriage.
Scene of the
Very
1960s.
good TV.
Absolutely extraordinary. But this, again, at that time, people were ready for that. These are like some of the clip here. Okay, personal life, it's why I think it's important to know. He was he was struggling. But when people struggle in general, there is two ways. Or they put their struggle and they put in a creative way. It's what happened to him. Even breaking down, he was sued by the government for like a financial problem. He had but he was married 5 times. I mean, I'm not talking about the affair around the 1 year. He had multiple affairs with a lot of women. 9 children. Of course, he was not a good father. He was never there. He was going whenever he goes home, and he said, "I'm going to see this one for 6 months." He was really like a man. He was not a model, and he said himself, you know, he was not a model of a father. But after, when he got really older, he lived in the Faroe Island, which is one of the islands that he made all his movies. And he was born, Bastille Day, July 14th.
Oh, July 14th.
So for Bastille Day, still at the end of his life, all his kids came back. And he used to have this birthday in Faroe Island, this island where today there is a Bergman Museum. If you want to go there, you can see the Bergman Museum.
Have you been there?
No, but I wish. I was there next time, you know. Many extra, like I said, he was not a good father, we say like the 14th of July. Always very existential question, and in this film you're going to see it. So the film that we are watching, What Strawberries, was written in psychiatric ward in 2 months. He was in psychiatric ward for depression. He was always into psychoanalysis. But what's so interesting, when you are depressed, that always, and I'm sure you know what depression is, right? I mean, everybody knows sometime or does in your life. In general, you don't want to do anything. When depression is the engine for you to be creative, that is something really interesting. And he made 2 films at the same time. So when he wrote like What Strawberries, he's in his 30s, mid-30s, he's questioning himself about the death, the big thing. He's starting to get aware of his own mortality. As a 7th seal, I don't know if some of you watched 7th seal before, he's a lot about the existence of God.
He plays chess with
Yeah. This is about death, but it's more like about the existence of God. This was like the big question of Bergman. I wish I was believing in God. I wish my life was easier, full of questions about relationship, about dying, about all these things. And this What Strawberries, it really is about aging and dying and really facing your life. It's always an interesting film when you watch when you are very young, because sometimes you have difficulty to understand it, but as you get older you really understand it. 35 years old, he had already a very good sense of it, about reflecting of his life. The actors who are on this film, well, this is about 60 films he made, just basically. Theater is more important because he was. These are the two directors of photography that he had, Gunnar Fischer and Van Trick, very, very well known too. And he won like thousands of awards. Important actor that he worked with him, and in the film, but in the film you have two of these are the actors that he will use. Liv Ullmann, who had a child with her. Bibi Andersson is a young woman who is in the movie that he had an affair with her, like about 2 years after. Actually, he left Bibi Andersson to go with Liv Ullmann. Harriet Anderson is another one. All these are very big. Ingrid Thulin is one of the actresses in the film. And all of these guys, Max von Sydow is a very big actor of the 70s that you're going to see here too. You're going to see it in the movie. So he worked with the same people, with a lot of the same people, and he has such a good connection with them that he does really a great thing. And so in this film, Victor Sjöström, the main actor, is his old man. Victor Sjöström is 78 years old in the film. He plays the professor. The name of the professor is Isak Borg. Isak Borg is Ingmar Bergman. IB. So it's his own vision of his own mortality, even if he's 35 years old. But Victor Sjöström was his teacher at the beginning of his career. And he helped at one time Bergman to make a film. And when he got to this very well established, Bergman, he said, I want Sjöström to be coming to play the professor. Sjöström was 78 years old. He said, I don't want to make a film, you know. He was really tired of everything else. But he really influenced him, and you're going to see what kind of work that he does. So he plays a professor who is going back to his life to get an award. Ingrid Thulin is one of the beautiful actress and Bibi Andersson, but Sjöström is really the main actor. He's like the main actor of the film. And after this we'll talk about all these other points. But what you have to remember, 1957, he has been struggling, he's struggling still to make, you know, to get better psychologically. He's really questioning all these aspects of life. The main character is Victor Sjöström, reflection on life, on death, and on memory. So you're going to see him going through this. It's 93 minutes, so it's not a long film, it's an hour and 30 minutes. And you're going to see that everything is shown, every scene is cut like a play. It's cut off at the time, it's what we call a linear. Beginning, 2, 3, 4, 5. So everything is written on a scene, and you see the scene, and we're going from the beginning to the end. Every scene has an impact, and something that people will tell me when I went to film school, and they used to tell me when I wrote, they say, you write too much, your dialogue are too long. This is the king of the dialogue. You could have a dialogue of 20 minutes between two people, with a fixed camera. And I say, because he was content. So even if you miss something of the content, of the listening, you have to watch this several times. Alright, so thank you for coming. You're watching it like a masterpiece of cinema, and this guy is like the other masterpiece. There is nothing who exists like this anymore. I was saying about sentimental value.
Yeah.
Sentimental value is Ingmar Bergman.
Yeah.
Is what?
What I mean is, it's like he took all in the inspiration for Ingmar Bergman. There is a scene. If you watch the sentimental values, there is a scene between the father and the daughter, several ones.
The one at the restaurant?
At the bar.
Yeah, like what they speak, like about 15 minutes, you know, they have like this really intense. You want to see it in this? It's not in the room, it's in the car. It's Victor Sjöström, who is like the professor who talked to his daughter-in-law about life, about her being pregnant or not being pregnant, and you're going to see, of course, people go back to the master. I mean, the good film are going back, and I mean, I say like Sentimental Value is the best film of the year for sure. I mean, for me, it was like on the top of everything, because it was really very intense and very felt. So when you see this, you're going to see that he took inspiration from somewhere. So enjoy, and we'll talk after. We'll talk about all these elements of the film, and it's how we keep cinema alive, is to be able to watch it together and share the content. going to talk a little bit about everything, but really the main thing always, when you talk to somebody about a film that they watch, right? Somebody come out of the film, and I say, what was story is about it? You know what they say? It's a story of an old man who's going good life. No, it's not that. Because a good film has so many layers of all interaction and development of character that it covers everything from life. It's a 360 degrees of life. So you can see it on the first level, right? It's this man who's reflecting of his life and is going through the step. But as he goes through the step, he is really looking at all the relationship of all the people in all different aspects. So to do this, we can do it in the different ways. We can take the story of the film, the narrative, but we can take to each character and what is the story of each character. And then you're going like you open the whole world, because instead of narrow it to just a simple story, you just open it up. So let's take, you know, not just even him, let's take from the beginning his servants, this woman who works with him. What does she represent? This is what I want you to go into analysis of all the characters, because it's how this story becomes so powerful from the servant who is serving him. Why is she there? Why is she important? Is she important? What do you think?
Yes. Everything. You said everything was important.
Everything is important. It is true. Everything is important. So as taking this character, she's certainly the smallest character in the film. You know, she's really just around. But why is she important, and why she represent, and how she reinforces Isak?
Yeah, forgiveness.
She's been there his whole life. She's been there for 40 years.
But he apologized to her at the end.
Right.
Finally
That was
apologized.
very important.
So his relationship to her, what kind of relationship?
There was
is she to her?
servant to, you know, she waited on him.
Right. And how does she feel about him?
Well, I think she loves him.
Yeah. Is she more dedicated than his wife?
You don't know much about his wife.
Yeah. I mean, she certainly is the most dedicated person in his life, you know. If he has a person who is dedicated like to his life, who does whatever she needs or he needs to do, she's a very big, important character in character development, but not really as a character in the film, because she's just a servant, but she's very important, because she showed him up to the end. The idea like she could be even more than his wife, or she has been more than his wife, because she was present all over. All his life she was there, and even at the end. I mean, I love this, you know, when she says, I will leave the door open in case of. I mean, it's really kind of like funny, because these people are kind of old, but there is this idea that, you know what, it's maybe just what's missing between us. This is the only thing that's missing between us, to be, you know, husband and wife, you know, because we did everything. We were together all from the beginning.
Right.
So that is really the smallest character. But if you take all the other characters and all the situations are all developed. Let's take another situation or another statement of Bergman. Bergman makes this statement on everything about his life, about his relationship, but too about like his accomplishment in life. He's 35 years old. He's on the top of the world. Film-wise, he's renowned everywhere. He has been getting all the awards. But in one way, he feels like a lot like an old man, which is kind of unusual for a 35 years old to have such a vision of an old man. And how does he feel? How is Isak Borg feels? How does he feel? He's been, and that again is like kind of so open to so many different areas, but what can we say about him? How does he seem looking at life now?
Apologetic?
What?
Apologetic?
Yeah, something like this. But what else? How does he use? What does he use for that? The memories of life are very important.
Guilt? Guilt?
Well, dreams.
The dreams.
Dreams.
So dreams are two things. Bergman into really heavy in psychoanalysis at that time of his life. So all the symbols that you're going to see are there, are meaning something. There is a lot of symbols. The first symbols, because he's reflecting on what life has been and how does he feel, he has a first scene. The first scene is a very surrealistic film. There is 2 or 3 symbols here who are very, very important because they are the core of the film too, you know. What do you remember? Like what was the first symbol that you see on the first
Clock.
clock?
Clock with no
Clock?
time.
No hands.
No hands.
No hands.
So the clock is a symbol because there is no hand. When do we see it again? We see it again several times in the film to remind you that this is, I mean, all as human. That is the most important we have in front of us is time. So if there is no way to count the time or where you are in time, you just like asking you a question. How long is going to be my life, or what do I have to do? So you have this and you have the mother when she opened the watch and she said, here, there is no hands. So we see timing as being very important because time is important for him. He's 35 years old. 35 years old, he's struggling with life, and like you say what they say about life. What is his son say? He said, life is not worth it, life is absurd. I don't want to bring a child today in the world. If you are to cut every character talking about life and being, it's all of them are in Bergman in a different way. Even Ingrid Thulin, who is like the daughter-in-law, who is absolutely gorgeous actually, really beautiful woman, who did very, very well in the US, who absolutely out of the world, but a great actress too. But she says, she said to him, I want to have a child, I want to care of a child. And he said, no, because life doesn't have any meaning. Life is absurd and has no meaning. So he's very existential in this way for the reason that he doesn't believe in God. You see how many times God comes in? Yeah. God comes in every ways, even with the young people. So what I'm impressed with this film always, that if you had to just change the setup, it could be a film of today. It's somebody facing life or facing death, looking at his memory, looking at reflecting of what he has been doing, how he's been struggling. But not just this, how is a young generation is looking at that? How is a young? Remember, Sara is the woman in the film as his love interest, but she's a young woman who is full of life too. They make him, she's the same actress, Bibi Andersson. So, and this is like all this bookend, how the young people feel about it. They're still asking questions about God. Right. They still asking questions, but they don't have the same approach about life because they are full of energy and full of... and I think it's a great way of putting the balance in the film. Because you don't see just a young, an old man going to death. We see these young people who are full of energy, who are like, they're going to go to Italy, he's asking questions. She doesn't know who she loves. She loves this one, loves this one. All these questions are a part of life, and I think it's what makes the balance of looking at him like being older and really dealing with this stuff, So the dreams are, going back to the dream, are super important because there is two main dreams. The first one was there is, and of course the other one, when he gets to the trial, it's going to be a court. Is he worth anything? He has been, I mean, again, we can all have this question here. After all your life saying, did I really do something? Is this really worth it? Am I really not a fraud to something? Here he is, this guy is going to be 50 years of medicine, he's going to be on the top of the world, they're going to have like everything else, but he goes to the court because it's what he thinks, and they tell him, you are not fit for that. You're not fit for this because you don't know how to answer these questions, And he said, well, I did this all my life. Is it not like an existential, really big question that we all have? We all have this question, I can tell you. Wherever we are, when we're going towards something who is close and we are conscious of our death, we are asking the question, did I do, is this meant something? So he put, we could take, and this is another aspect of it, this, and his relationship too. Relationship, he questioned the relationship, how was the relationship with his wife? How did he feel about it? Even after 30 years, he's holding on something but it doesn't mean anything because he loves Sara, his first love. And I found this very touching because it's kind of like, even if you live your life a certain way, and it was this for me, he has the maturity of a much older man. This is not a 35-year-old, I mean, I remember I was 35 one day, like it was a while ago, but I remember at 35.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. Thank you, Mike, But now, you can see that he reflects on all this past, on all this memory, and he really is so great into the role of Isak Borg, even if he's younger, he reflects on his memory, he reflects on what he didn't do, what he could not do, what he didn't get involved with, with his parents. Remember too, this is on the balance of Bergman had a terrible relationship with his father. He hated his father. he started to have a relationship with his father when his father were in his deathbed. You see the last scene when his son comes and he sits down? This is a little Bergman talking to his father somehow. So everything is based on his own life, his own suffering, his own question, and what I really love is like he does not give you an answer.
Right.
There is no answer. And that is really what, you know, you can watch this film multiple times and we can go through every character from her, like the daughter-in-law, to the son, to everybody around him, and how is he affected by him and all this question. It's exactly the same question people have today. Because it's not a film on an action, it's not a film on a story, it's a film on humanity and on being alive. So anything you can take and you can extract, you can do something about it. Is there anyone inside who is like very optimist? Only thing I can see optimist, but anyway, if there is an optimist, is Sara and these young people who are all in white. Remember, it's all in white. It's like the beauty of life. Youth at his best, with like the way of being in love. Even if Isak was really nice to her, she likes the other guy. You say, oh, I'm gonna feel so bad for Isak, but I like. So this is all his experience, how he experimented life and how he put this. He wrote this film in 2 months. It's not a long time to write a film in 2 months.
Amazing.
And he made 2 films in 1 year. He made The Seventh Seal. With the Seventh Seal is a lot about the existence of God. And Bergman used to say, I don't believe in God. He did not believe in God, but he said, how much I wish I believed.
How much
I wish I believed. And that I found is beautiful because he's so honest about his flaws or his difficulties or his impossibility, that he reflects on us. For this is called an existential filmmaker, because he reflects, he throws this back on us, that we are coming back with all these questions. Why is this an art form which is very powerful? Because when you come out and when you finish the film, you can look at like a first level, but if you go at the second level, thousands of questions coming to you. And all the important questions: love, relationship, death, accomplishment in life. All these things are coming back to you because it's what he's talking about.
There's one thing that I noticed that reminded me of Louis Buñuel. The scene with the carriage and the dead guy coming out.
Because this is like too, you know, the surrealists are there too, you know.
Yeah.
Remember this guy, Bergman, is not anyone. He read everything, he knows everything. It's a little bit like Truffaut in a lot of Godard. These guys were intellectuals, they know everything. And their vision of art too is there. So this is a really symbol of the dream. Dream equal Buñuel. Buñuel, the surrealist filmmaker, who did take dream as a base of his film and put all these elements together. So you have all these things who are coming back, sure, and they really reflect on the symbols too, you know, it's great too. But that's going to go on by one year.
Yeah, let's point out, right, one thing not listed there is the title of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Now the title, right, refers to the sweetness of life.
Yes.
And
What
it starts
stars-
with the wild
Yeah.
strawberries
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah, you know, it's
They
very
come up
important
with
too,
that.
because people,
So it really,
he's
is
sweet.
really titled it after
Yeah.
the sweetness. of
And you
life.
know, I don't know if you remember, if people know well enough, the Seventh Seal. The Seventh Seal, there is a scene where they are going around, well, because there's the same kind of scene. There's, in the Seventh Seal, you have this clown. There are people going around and playing, and theater actors, where Bibi Andersson is there too, you know, where they sit down, she sits down, and she's making like this great meal for everybody, and she makes strawberries with cream, you know, because strawberries with cream are a symbol of sweetness. So this is really what, you know, what's crazy, because it's talking about sweetness on life, on this aspect of it. But if you watch the Seven Seas too, what I love, they are so compact and so close together, they are dealing exactly with the same thing. There is no, he does not deal, of course there is some funny scene, but besides the funny scene, everything we say is like questioning. Not giving you an answer, he question. He say, is my life with my, what was the life with my wife, or what was, what did I miss on the relationship with Sara? Why did I miss it? So why is my goal after all these years of being a very well-established doctor? Am I really an established doctor? what am I, you know? And finishing to relating to this, but I love all of this.
You know his patients love him because of the gas station scene.
Oh yeah,
That was funny.
yeah. And Max von Sydow, who was just before,
I know,
was a knight.
that was my big guess.
He was a knight. He was this very big guy. He was a knight coming out from the crusade, you know, and talking to death. So all these elements are there, you know, are like reinforcing the film.
So why did they have that whole gas station scene?
Just like a regular life, I think. Into this heavy thing of him concentrating about his past, saying, okay, I am a real man. And what he said, maybe I should have moved. I should not have moved. Because it looked like a simple life. You know, he looked like a guy who's gazing in with his wife, who's going to have a baby. Oh, we're going to give the name of this. So I think this kind of sense of like simplicity, maybe.
To me, that,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say, to me, that scene was important because everybody to date that we met in the film was saying how he was cold and not a nice
Yeah.
guy.
Oh,
right.
And now you see that, but he's got this other relationship with at least the community, not
Yeah.
necessarily his own.
Well, maybe just as a doctor.
Maybe as a doctor, as a respect, you can see it like this too, you know, but he looked like he's so respected by everyone. But does he feel like this himself? This is
Well, I
another
think the
question.
line, you know everything, but yet you know nothing. That was what the man said, you know, the judge said to him.
Yes, this is like how all this turn around, all this like a self-awareness
Or
he's looking
maybe
at.
one of the women said
Yeah.
that.
I thought at the gas station that was his community. He was there. He felt
Right.
Yeah.
belonging there.
Yeah.
When where else he went, he left the community. He wasn't there.
And what he said, you know, I wish I didn't live, you know, even when he sees his mother can be really a rough, you know, person, but he's still attached to her.
Maybe
There is
as
an
he got
attachment,
more
there is
prominent,
a sweetness about their
distance
relationship
himself
too.
from humanity and
I like him too,
connectivity
you know,
and
it was
all
like
that,
really
you know.
96 years old, looking at all these memories, looking at the book, opening the books. So there is all these really
I
common
understand
points.
the rapes,
that,
was his wife
that are
raped by
great, but
somebody else?
The dreams, the two dreams are like really what the key of this, of everything else, because it's all about his life. And of course the last scene, he
Okay.
refined his parents again.
Oh, oh.
He looked at his parents again.
The only scene with his father.
Yeah,
That's the only time we
yes,
see
the
his
only
father.
thing his father. I mean, his mother was really kind of cold too as a regular, I mean, as he loved his mother, but she was really cold. If you can see watch another film with extraordinary, it's Fanny and Alexander, 1982, he considered this as his last film, and it is his biography. He talks, there is a scene with him and his father was really abusive, so kind of, I mean, I'm still really amazed that being abused the way he was, he came out to be such an unbelievable production. He's fucked up his life.
Maybe because of it.
What?
Maybe because of it.
Because of
And we don't
yeah,
know.
I think it's like all of these are like so unusual and so powerful. But the honesty about asking you question and not having the obnoxious ways of saying, I know something, this I find this beautiful because he has still the simplicity of a human asking question and trying to find a reason to be.
He was only 38 years old, 35 years
Yeah.
old, and now his son is 38 years old.
Yeah.
The eldest son.
Yeah.
So
It's
the
him.
question. So it's him.
It's him.
That's
It's him.
what I
You know,
thought.
the son, it's him talking to his father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The last scene when he's him at 38 years old,
Yeah.
he's there, it's him.
Yeah.
And 38 years old, you know, when he talked to his wife and he said, I don't want a child because life is absurd, there is no meaning to live. He says that.
And he
That's
had
what he said.
9 children.
Yeah.
And
But you know what, he was really 9 children because he had no fucking control. You know, it's kind of like he was going with a woman. I mean, there is this big famous, I saw this on documentary, he was with somebody for 3 years, he had 2 or 3 children, and he met somebody somewhere, he came to see his wife, he said, I'm living for 7 months, you know, I mean, you see, he was really a bastard in a lot of ways, because his needs were more important, and he was like what, he was not liked. His kids did not like him. Nobody liked him actually, you know. He was very demanding, but he was very, very aggressive and very controlling on the set. He wanted the people to do something he was very strong and very, driven to be able to get somewhere. But with not, you know, he started to be slower or like better at the end. There is a film which is called Bergman Ireland. You can watch it, it's a documentary where we see where Bergman is, and there is a lot of documentary at the end of his life where he reflects on it on Faroe Island. Faroe Island is really the place where he shot a lot of films, and especially the big one that he shot, it's Persona. Persona is really one of the great films that he shot. So it's always around him, and you realize when he talked, and he was in late 80s already, he knows what's horrible life he has been giving to everyone else, you know, and his search, you know, so.
Sounds like a true artist.
No, it is true. Somebody who fucked up his life completely and really was one of the greatest creators of cinema. So, but
what role model would he have? You
What?
know, one learns from their parents,
Yeah.
and he had no role model to be a father.
I know, for sure. That's for
So
sure.
that's why, you know, they say
Five
abusers
marriages.
can
Five
walk
marriages?
away.
He's trying.
Right? But look at this, what he did as a creator. It's like, this is a question that we all have, you know. Even so he was abused, he was not well treated, he didn't have any role model. He created this humongous amount of work, you know, who is like very powerful, who will influence everybody for the rest of humanity, you know, because all these are human questions. So it's very, very important, you know. And, I mean, he worked with the team too, the thing too, that's very important to know that the people who are on the film were actors on his play. So he had a job on a every year he had a job. He was the director of the theater of Malmo, you know. He had a troupe of people and they were making plays after plays. And often in the summer, they used to take them and make a film. So it's how we make, and the film was financed by the Swedish industry film state. So he never had problem to find money. At one time he spent so much money, he was like going, because Sweden has a very strong rule about taxes, he had to run away from Sweden for a while to go to Italy to get a job and lose a lot of this money. He was bankrupt a few times, a very, very hectic life. And after when he came back to Sweden, he went to Faroe Island where he established himself and produced some great film. But really, if there is something we have to remember about him all the time, is that there is no dead space in the film. I found there is no thing who's like, I mean, of course there is this little light moment, but even this light moment, even when the kids are playing, but they say, oh, you're asking the existence of God, or you know, whatever they do, even if there's a lightness about it, it's still on the dot of the question. Do not forget the question. And it's what, you know, it could be an he's called an existential filmmaker, or like an intellectual filmmaker. He is for someone, when he died in 2007, it's a very funny story because I remember talking about this film actually when he died, the year he died in 2007, I talk about this film. And people say, this year was the saddest year for a lot of people and the happiest thing for the other people. When you say Bergman to outside, you know what people tell you? What do they say when they say Bergman? Or they say, oh, it's my best director, or they say, the worst boring film I ever watched in my life. Oh yeah, Bergman.
I thought it was interesting, also,
It's
that
like, you know,
they
Bergman.
were talking about you people are Catholic, and I'm thinking, that's more of like a Lutheran country, isn't it, Sweden? I wouldn't think there'd be too many Catholic people there.
Yeah, that's it's really weird. But
I was surprised, they were talking
Yeah,
about
surprised too.
Yeah,
One
I
thing
think
too
it
about
was
2007, so when they say that it was a good year, because in 2007 one of the other great director, Italian director died, Antonioni. And Antonioni, you're gonna, if you are here with me, I'm gonna show L'Avventura on the 26th, who is a masterpiece of cinema to me.
On the 26th of April?
Yeah.
Here?
L'Avventura here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like all these guys are supposed for some people to represent the great creation, for some people it's the worst.
Yeah, you can see, really,
Makes art.
you can see that even if he didn't believe in God, he picked up and used a lot of the Bible.
Oh yeah.
Not only in the seventh seal, but in that trial scene in the dream,
Yeah.
where they have the writing on the blackboard, the word tekel is up there. That's the handwriting in the wall from the book of Daniel.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right, where the king sees the handwriting on the wall and he can't read it, and Daniel comes and explains it to him. It means You have been weighed in the balance and found wanting.
Oh, wow. Where did we get him from?
I don't know. but that's great, you know, because, but don't remember he was extremely well versed in religion because he had to learn everything from his father. He learned everything and he was very strict. His father, like I said, was very strict. He used to go and know everything, and it was like a very dry, upbringing. And again, religion is there present to all questioning or rejecting it, but it's very strongly present. And I mean, the idea of God too has been like everywhere in all these films, a lot of these films.
This is the second time I saw this,
Yeah.
and I really got the daughter-in-law's character through it from the beginning to the end, where she kind of, you know, she just appears. Like, he's at his house, and she just sort of appears there. Like, what is she doing there? And they start talking that long talk in the car about how she kind of just hates this guy, right?
And she said he hates you too.
She hates you too. And then the end of the movie,
Yeah, in the end,
calls
she
him
loves
uncle.
him.
and the end of the movie, they whisper to each other, "I like you."
So
So she goes through this journey throughout the film, that, and then the change is when she sees him with his mom, right? She gets back in the car and she says, "Now I understand," and something clicks.
It's what it is, the process, and even him changed.
Yeah.
Him changed at the end when he
Yes.
said, and he looked at the camera a couple of times before he goes. He changed.
Yep.
He has been going through everything. He has been through his memories. He has been going to his idea of what his wife was, to his childhood, to his parents. It's a road trip through life, you know.
Yep.
And it's so honest too. So honest. He doesn't try to fake you. He doesn't try to tell you anything else. He tells you like how he feels it. And these messages are really great in cinema because if you take this of like it is and you look at it and you watch it again, of course you learn about yourself. Because you see, you know, I can be Isak Borg, you know, I can be him, you know, going in my life. And I mean, I really do understand the fact of as you get older, I mean, for me, and this is a personal thing, how many times I have this flashback of my childhood. And how, I mean, not me, I'm talking really strongly, how do I see myself as a little kid? We do that when we get to the end, but as we get forward, we go back, we look, we reflect, and we relive it, and we try to make, I don't know, the best out of it, but we have regrets too. That is what's so beautiful. So it's not a film which is going to make you think about something else, or like, you know, somebody going to the moon. Who cares about going to the moon? You know, I want to know what life is about. You know, and that is really what the difference is.
If I had to guess, so his brother feels like somebody who never would go through that exercise.
Yeah. Oh, and something I forgot to tell you. The guy who is like the accident that he had with this guy who's obnoxious. He's
the examiner,
Yeah, he's examining. His name is Old Man.
That's not unusual.
His Old Man. His name is Old Man. He represents the regular people.
Right.
It's what he call it ALMAN. It's Old Man, so every man, like the regular dude. You know, because you have like. He's really very obnoxious, this guy, you know, but you know how he treats his wife and how he thinks he's in control of everything else, and he goes back in the court and he's saying, but he has this name, Old Man. I love this line because it's like, he says that he's represent like a whole human being who thinks that they know everything, right? A regular guy or a regular human being, he knows everything, right? He knows what he has been doing, he's the one in control, he finds himself in the court, and whatever he does, it's good because he knows. Completely the opposite of Bergman, who doubt everything about everything. And I mean, his doubt really make us better human beings, certainly.
You know what I thought was interesting too, that the son was a doctor too?
Yeah.
And because Sweden and all Scandinavia, abortion is totally fine, you know? I was surprised since he didn't want to have children, he didn't tell her to go have an abortion.
No, I think he was.
Well, didn't she say that I'm going to go through with the pregnancy,
She said.
which shows there was an option.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying, over there, it's like, you know, brushing your teeth. I mean,
She didn't want it.
Yeah, but I think that there is a respect to life too.
no, she didn't, the husband.
The
I'm saying the
respect of
husband.
like, you know, giving life to someone, it's an important decision. And I mean, I tell you, you could have
That
the
is
same.
civilization,
What?
going forward, that is civilization.
Yeah, but I tell you, you can talk. I talk to people who are in their 30s who don't want to have kids, and they tell me,
Right.
we
Yes,
don't want to
They
have
don't wanna
children.
have it.
The world, as the world is going and what life is, I don't want to have children. So it's for this I say that this film are like so expandable today, because we're talking about all the elements of people alive or people in relationship, of how do we do this, how do we stay together, the conflict between the son and the daughter-in-law, or the conflict about this young woman to choose, the conflict of himself looking at his wife having an affair with someone else and not being able to fight for it. All these kind of things are like really very important.
So did his wife have an affair? Was she? I didn't understand that scene.
Even when he knew that she had an affair,
She knew.
he told her, instead of saying being mad like anyone will be, or jealous, even really human, he told her, you know, I feel bad for you because you're going to feel guilty. And this is really, she felt like she was not wanted for that. And it was it was like, when he talked about his wife, it was nothing really powerful. Who he loved, it was Sara. What he loved his youth things, you know, it's really kind of interesting. And he's here too as a young woman at the end, who is the one who is going with his guys, and now she's really so endearing for him too, and he felt, she told him, you know, I love you, you're the only one I love, like, you know, as an old man, but how he felt about this, all this kind of memories of this. Or as of today, if you go to a movie, you don't have anything to grab. You want to grab an idea, you can't grab an idea because there is nothing. You know, I mean, I know some people who, again, with TV is the same, like Netflix series is just a following of action. You cannot see who is his character. You know what the character do. He does this, but who he is, you don't know. He does this to this person, this happens to this. Everything is things who happen, but not
What about the
things who
film
exist.
Nuremberg, where they talk more about, you know, relationships and you know, what was behind, you know, it was an interpersonal relationship, you know. You feel there were,
Where?
the new film Nuremberg.
Oh yeah. There is some part, not so much on him, on the Goebbels, you know. I mean, on Goebbels when he talk about himself and his struggle, but not so much. A lot of things of historical things were good, but just on him maybe some. They really don't want that, because most of the old man people, the regular people,
They don't have attention to that.
they don't want to think about it.
No,
What do
right,
you
they
think
want
that
to be
people-
entertained.
They want something to be
They just
entertained.
want to be entertained.
It's traumatic enough when I saw
Okay,
that.
thank you.
All right, thank you to you guys. Thank you. Any question or anything?
I don't know what if I understood, the one that had the affair with his
This was
brother.
my 50s, I didn't see
No,
No,
It wasn't his brother.
no.
the wife that you see in the woods.
Yeah.
Yes, she has a lover. You know, when she's in the woods, it's a lover, it's not his brother.
It was not his brother. So
His brother at the beginning was
She
already.
stole his first.
Yes.
But that was not his
No, he
brother.
wasn't. He's the old wife.
They were older, definitely.
He's the old
But I
wife.
thought it was.
Yeah, and they weren't very
I thought the guy was the brother.
They were not, they were,
After
yeah.
he gets married, he gets with this woman and she shares their affair. So he's losing every time. He's losing the woman that he loved, and even his wife is losing. All right, thank you for coming.
Thank
guys.
you for having
I hope
us.
you enjoy. You get
Thank you
something
so
out of
much.
this.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Always great to
Nice
see
to
you.
meet you.